Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5, the team in Rochester. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO, Mr. Zach Stanley.
Rochester is about to kick some serious butt.
In what?
At Bills camp next week.
Oh, you mean the Bills camp that we will not be attending? That one?
No, actually, we are going.
Oh, we are?
Well, yeah, we're just not going to be on the sidelines.
Oh.
So.
I'm just going to break in and jump over the sidelines. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Nick Steblenko, you think you can barrel us down some close spots?
I will encourage you to do that, and then I will laugh mercilessly.
Yeah, I will not be doing this show from jail next week.
Have you ever heard his merciless laughter?
No.
It's pretty great.
It is.
Oh.
It's boisterous.
Are we going to be able to hear that on the Star Fantasy League show?
Not unless you jump that fence, buddy.
Fine. I'll do it. We'll get it on recording. Things will happen. You'll read in the news that one local sportscaster was arrested for
hugging Sammy Watkins.
I'm not going to do that.
Why not?
I am a professional. I will not hug him. I'll interview him.
You're sure you're not talking about yourself, Zach?
Yeah, that's true.
That could be me.
You're a fanboy.
That could be me.
You are a fanboy. Today's an interesting day on the Star Fantasy League show. It's actually an interesting week because we're a fantasy show. Actually, no, we're not a fantasy show according to the Buffalo Bills. No, we don't do that.
Well,
but nope, nothing to do with fantasy. This is a sports show.
I mean,
to
be fair, we do talk about a lot of news.
That we do. But this week, since it is the All-Star break, you know how much fantasy there is to talk about Monday through Thursday? Zero.
Well, a little bit. We can reflect.
Oh, we're gonna do a lot of reflecting, but I'm saying getting people prepared for games, not gonna happen. It's the All-Star break. This is the weirdest part of the year. There is no major professional sports going on right now.
So we're like a 10 to 20% fantasy show now?
No, we're like a 0%.
Well, if gambling in America was legal, then everybody could bet on the home run derby tonight.
Oh, it's true.
What's gambling?
I don't know.
I don't know what you're referring to. That's not a real thing.
It's a foreign word at this point.
That is true. You know what is a thing that we're going to talk about, though? Something that's just completely taking over all of sports right now.
The Bills.
No, it's not the Bills.
Hockey?
What's that? Actually, you know what? For once, we are talking hockey. Isn't that a little strange?
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird word. I'm talking about free agency. Free agency in NBA and NHL pretty much takes over the league when it's not going on because it's the only thing that's happening. So we are going to reflect. Nick just desperately begged me when I came in the office this morning.
Desperately begged, yes.
Why can't we talk NHL free agency? There's so much to talk about. So
you know, we live in Western New York where hockey and football rule, and there isn't a basketball team.
Hey, not yet. Not yet, there's not.
And there won't be.
Rochester NBDL team.
Rochester Royals coming back.
I saw the Razor.
Never be Royals.
I saw the Razor Sharks mascot at Cornhill Festival the other day and gave him a hug. It was weird.
Well, that had to be a great time.
No.
Nick just quoted Lord.
I did.
I don't want to talk.
Quoted Lord.
I don't want to talk about it.
Do that.
It's weird for all of us. Let's just move on. I actually did write down some questions for you for the NHL portion of free agency talk.
I'm ready.
We're leading off with it because, let's be honest, you are so excited about it, I have to let you just enjoy.
Well, Buffalo finally has something to be excited about. The Sabres actually did okay.
So you know what? Let's go ahead and say, which team do you think's had the best offseason so far? I think for some reason you're going to say the Buffalo Sabres.
I have to say the Sabres. I think they did fantastic. I mean, they obviously, we know they had one of the worst seasons, I think, in franchise history last season, and they had the number 2 overall pick, which was almost a slap in the face because they didn't get the number 1 in the draft over the lottery. So
deliberate tanking.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen in hockey.
Deliberate tanking. They traded off their entire team at the deadline.
It can happen when management does it.
Yeah, I guess so, but players don't do it.
They traded them for popcorn.
Yeah, well, when you've got like the scrubs out there. There's really not much that can be done.
Anyways, I think they did a great job with their second pick taking Sam Reinhart, so I'm really excited to see what he's like next season. Not sure if he'll stay in the Western Hockey League or if he'll come up and play for the Amerks, but if he does, that would be fun.
Yeah, how often? I mean, because obviously the NBA, you the players you draft at 1 through 5 almost immediately every time. In the NHL, it's usually a couple years for these players. Right?
A lot of it has to do with the contracts. I mean, they save a lot of money by leaving these guys in their junior leagues. So if they can do that and they can allow them to develop, like I know they left Nikita Zadorov down there, a guy that they drafted last season. But they also, last season, brought up Rasmus Ristolainen, their big defenseman, and he actually played a lot for the Amherst Sand-Sabres. So we'll see what happens. The kid's good, though. He is fantastic. So I'm excited to see where he fits in. But what they really did was they brought in a lot of veterans that I think are going to help them out a lot, especially with development of the younger players. So.
And who are these players that Buffalo Sabres fans can look forward to and actually have some hope for their franchise?
Our hometown boy, Brian Gionta.
He's back, baby.
He's back. I love it.
Grease Lightning.
Yeah, so they got him for 3 years. That's a big signing. I like that. He's not going to put up 40 goals like he did when he played for the Devils, but he'll be able to usher in some new players. They got Matt Molson back, which I really love because they let him go and brought him back in free agency. So got him at a cheaper price too. So
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. One of those deals. Trade you away and just come on right back.
Come right back. And then they brought Josh Georges from Montreal and Andre Mazaros. A couple of defensemen I think are going to really help out. I think they did a great job. And they bought out Ville Leno, one of the most atrocious signings from the Darcy Regier regime, if you will. Just horrible.
Mazaros is a beast.
Yeah, he was good. I really like the Georges signing. I think he's going to really help them with their stay-at-home defenseman. So, good stuff. I like the Sabres, man.
All right, we talked about the Sabres being the best offseason. Which teams just completely struck out this offseason, had some bad signings, just throwing money around?
I think the Montreal Canadiens. They signed Thomas Vanek on sort of a loan player. I guess you knew he was leaving, but then they lost Gionta and Georges. They lost Danny Briere. Really, the only thing that they added was P.A. Parento, which he's just a role player, like second or third liner. I think they lost a lot, and they're also going through arbitration with some of their bigger names like P.K. Subban. So, not so good of an offseason for Montreal.
Bit of a headache for the Canadiens.
Are there any players still left?
It's a headache situation.
The Kings?
I said Canadians.
Oh, I thought you said Kings.
Oh, we're having comprehension.
Incorrect.
Issues.
Yep. Don't trust a guy that can't hear.
Yeah, that is a problem.
That's
we'll go with the hearing paired.
Okay, that sounds
not
good.
the impaired.
Yeah.
Who's still left in free agency? Who hasn't signed? Any big names out there?
Not really a lot of big names out there, but I mean there were definitely some big moves. Jason Spezza to Dallas was one. Ryan Kessler to Anaheim. Sorry, Zach, I know we lost Ryan Kessler, but you got another Ryan.
It needed to be done.
You got another Ryan.
You
got Ryan
Miller.
So a lot of things happening out in West. Love that stuff. And then there were some other, just really big names like Paul Stastny to St. Louis. A lot of big names moving around. Should be an interesting season next season.
Big names moving around is an understatement. We got to move on to the NBA. I'm glad you finally got your chance.
Thank you very much for allowing me to.
Are you happy that you got to talk? We led off the show with NHL talk.
There's a weight lifted off my chest. I still have a lot of weight on that chest as well, but it's still good.
If you guys are excited about NHL talk and Buffalo Sabres talk, tweet us at SFL Show. Get some thoughts out there about the Sabres, how you think they're going to do this season. We got plenty of time to lead into this, but it's nice to talk about some free
Go hockey.
Can't wait.
Zach's like,
cheers to hockey.
All right, let's get on to the NBA. Let's go.
We only left a few minutes because this entire week we're going to be talking about all of the ridiculous developments that happened from LeBron Domino Gate. That's what we're calling it now. As soon as he made his decision, the entire rest of free agency basically fell into line.
They got in line.
It's insane because there was a report earlier that Carmelo was waiting on LeBron to make his decision, and he did. He decided, a day later? 2 days later?
I'm going to tip my hat to LeBron on that one. Last time around, he waited for everybody else. This time, he did the right thing and stepped up.
Except Dwayne Wade and
It was a little bit early. I remember getting told on Friday. They were wondering whether he was going to say it before he went to the World Cup match.
Yep.
But he did it on Friday. We got it over with, and it was a fun weekend because, as you said, the dominoes started to fall.
Yeah, and boy, did they fall. A lot of surprising dominoes fell, too. The big one that I just want to talk about now is this whole Miami thing. We just assumed as soon as LeBron left that Miami would completely implode. Bosh would go to Houston. Wade would probably consider Chicago, but most likely be loyal, unlike some other players in Miami. But man, Miami just kind of brought the band back together. Instead of LeBron James, we have Luol Deng going on a 2-year, $20 million deal. I think that's a pretty decent number for him.
Yeah, that is a good deal. They were talking about whether he was going to dismiss that and not go for it and wanted more money. But for them, Luol Deng showed some pretty significant regression last year.
Well, injuries were a big part of
it. They were. But even when he was on the court, he didn't look – I don't know if it had to do with the Cavs offense or what. But I think he'll be good there. And to have him at 2 years and not have to worry about anything beyond that is good. It also sets him up for everything that's coming with 2016 and the new TV agreement, similar to what LeBron did.
So is Luol Deng kind of like Sammy Hagar for Van Halen? That kind of what's going on here?
No.
Why are you talking about Sammy Hagar that way?
I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Why are you besmirching the good name of the Van Halen frontman? How dare you?
Okay, you know what? Let's not get into it.
What, are you going to say? You're going to hate on Sammy Hagar? I've seen both. I've seen David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar.
And which was better?
David Lee Roth, obviously.
Thank you. That was my point.
David
that was my only
Roth.
point.
Miami is not going to – okay, people are talking about how there's going to be like a big 5-team like pile up in the East. Now stop that.
I don't know.
Miami's
I think
not as good.
they're still a playoff team.
They're
though.
a playoff team, but they're not a team that's going to cause waves unless Dwayne Wade suddenly becomes Dwayne Wade of 6 years ago.
Yeah, can you believe that Chris Bosh went back? And not only did he go back, 5 years, $118 million.
Yeah, he's getting so much more money than Dwayne Wade's going to get.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
He
Well,
deserves it, though.
After last season, and you've seen Dwayne Wade deteriorate slowly.
I think over the next couple years we'll see if he deserves it. And not to mention there's a chance that, I don't know, he gets into that third, fourth, fifth year. Who's he going to be at that point?
Good point.
I mean,
it's a lot of money.
He's already molded his game with LeBron there to be sort of an outside guy. He wasn't doing as much banging inside. That could be a transition for his later years and what you're going to see. I'm assuming this year he's going to go back to being on the block, doing a little bit more of what he did in Toronto, as opposed to, having LeBron there to basically facilitate the whole offense.
We're definitely going to be keeping an eye on him from a fantasy perspective because his numbers should go way up.
They are, we're expecting him literally to be, like a 2010 guy
2010
again?
guy.
He should be.
I think it's pretty obvious who the star of this team is going to be. Mario Chalmers. Duh.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah. When I was saying bringing the band back, they're literally bringing the entire band back together. Chalmers is back. Haslam's going to be back. Birdman just signed there again. Probably no Ray Allen, though.
Probably no Ray Allen. Ray Allen is evidently contemplating retirement.
Oh, get out of here.
Which would be ridiculous.
Chase a ring again.
Why would that be ridiculous?
Because he's still got it.
Yeah.
He's still an athletic
He's still
freak.
got it, and if he can, ride on LeBron's coattails, why not?
Yeah, but he already did that.
Yeah,
All right,
he probably wants to do it again.
Gun to your head, after all this is said and done, who had the better offseason, the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Miami Heat? Overall offseason.
Cleveland.
I don't think that's a question.
Okay.
I mean, come on, dude. When you get the best player in the world, you win.
They already have enough pieces in place, and they're going to be making. I still think this Kevin Love thing is going to happen. So
They said they're not going to give up Wiggins.
I think they will.
The fact that he's going to be a free agent after the season, and he could just wait it
he's
out and
gonna
get him for free.
sign on long term. I really
they
think
could get him for free. They don't need to give up anything. Just do it. Go out, do what you got to do to get this guy. Don't give up your pieces.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do what you got to do.
Don't give up your pieces to do it, though. Just get him in free agency.
Do what you got to do, but don't do what you got to do.
Oh, stop that. All right, coming after the break, we're talking more about this in John Holt's mailbag. And you listen to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League Show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Welcome back.
Tweet me.
Tweet you or tweet the show at SFL Show?
Both.
You want to be tweeted too?
I could be tweeted, yeah.
At SFL Zach, at SFL Nick, if you want to catch the members of the Star Fantasy League show. Not me. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you.
One's with an H, one's with a K.
What?
Zach with an H, Nick with a K.
But you're the.
You would be Nitch. You would be Nitch.
It could just be
wouldn't be
Nick with a
Nitch.
C. That'd be a little weird if it was just Nick with a C.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
Like Nicci.
That's Nicky.
Like Nicky.
That's
Nitchy?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Today is a really uncomfortable show. I'm not sure why. We're just saying
It's a girl.
weird.
It's a girl's name.
Nikki?
Nikki.
Yeah.
With two C's.
With two K's also is a weird
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Remember, anytime your first name has two consonants next to it, we don't trust you.
Star Fantasy League's name evaluation.
Yeah, we just don't trust you. That should be a segment. Fantasy related to how your name is spelled. We don't like you.
I mean, we know who isn't effective.
I'm very, very depressed that a certain man named Don Roach for the Washington Nationals is no longer playing because he'd be my chud of the century.
But we're not surprised.
Well, yeah. He's going to be.
Wasn't he for San Diego?
No, he was for the Washington Nationals of National Land.
Pretty sure he was on San Diego.
No. You want to fight about this on the air?
Nope.
Yep, exactly, because he knows he's wrong. He doesn't want to fight about it on the air. Love it.
All right.
I'll look it up.
Right now.
Okay, they're both pulling out their phones right now during the show. It's John Allen's mailbag. Put your damn phones away. We're talking about some bags of mail.
We're looking for proof.
Yeah, over the weekend, a lot of mail piled up, and we have to ask some questions. So we're gonna ask ourselves the damn questions.
I'm ready.
Ready? All right. Chris W. writes: Germany defeated Argentina in extra time to win the 2014 World Cup. Now that the cup is over, do you expect soccer in America to be any more popular, or is the fad already dead?
I expect it to be a little more popular, not necessarily in America, but I think that the citizens of America are going to be what I'm saying is not MLS. I don't think MLS is suddenly going to skyrocket, but I do think that there are going to be more people watching Premier League, Champions League. I think there's already been a trend with that. We've seen a lot of the major networks signing on big contracts.
Yeah, NBC Sports has they have La Liga, they have the EPL, they got a bunch of stuff on national broadcasting.
It's been progressively growing every year for the last few years, actually, but I think this has only helped to boost it even more, and I think that people are going to continue to become more involved in the games overseas. I myself am even considering picking a team.
Okay, yeah, that's the problem. Like, how do you just jump in? Because normally either it's something like your family grew up watching a team, that's how you get weird teams, or you're from an area. How do you join and just like grab an EPL team or grab like a La Liga?
Usually I like to get either a low to middling team when I hop on with a league so I can root for the underdog until I feel the glory of them. If I get on with Manchester United, I don't feel like a fan.
That makes you a jerk.
If they're just winning. I feel like a loser.
Well, John, you know where we go is we would be with Liverpool. Because of the owner of the Red Sox. We could just kind of go, we kind of segue on like that.
He has a piece of it, doesn't he?
And so does LeBron.
Oh,
he does?
Not interested.
I didn't know that. All right, no Liverpool.
I'm looking at Sunderland.
Okay.
And the reason for
Josie?
that, because of Josie.
What about Tim Howard? Isn't Tim Howard at Everton? I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was.
I was looking at the overall titles that have been won historically, and Sunderland was a little middling, and but with enough upside.
Honestly, I think I'm going with the Tottenham Hotspurs because of the name. It's just such a fun name to say.
So I mean, but it's kind of safe to say that we would be jumping on with the Premier League versus the MLS, though, right?
Nobody's jumping on the MLS.
That's kind of what I was going to say.
Again, we don't have
Again,
we don't have a team.
But it's still growth, regardless. It's still interest. And, hopefully...
I honestly hope that the MLS realizes it's kind of a middling league and tries to, join forces with one of these leagues as, the play-in or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that a lot of players from the Premier League and other leagues around the world, they come to the MLS. We've said this before, sort of as a retirement league.
To die.
No, but, I have heard a lot of those players say, we look at the MLS and we see the growth that's been happening and we're actually excited to play there. That says a lot, because...
Yeah, they are actually getting increasingly more fans at those games.
Yeah, that Portland-Seattle game the other night probably had 180,000 million people because those games.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of people.
A lot.
No, I'm saying, but the Seattle. Let's be honest, Seattle for anything sells out immediately. Their fans are incredible. They don't get a lot of sports up there, so they hope a team doesn't get pushed away like the Sonics.
Don't get what?
When they have a team, they're hoping they don't get ripped from them like the Seattle Sonics.
Still rooting for the Sonics to come back.
I know. That's why they embrace
and hockey. Wayne Gretzky says that he might bring hockey to Seattle.
Oh, great! More expansion for hockey. We don't.
You
need
know
expansion.
it.
Stop it. We don't need it. All right, we got to move on. We have more questions in the mailbag. Of course we do. Tweet us at SFL Show if you want your questions in the mailbag. What?
One of those questions where Don Roach plays?
Yeah, it's San Diego.
Yep, he plays for the Padres.
Actually, he probably doesn't play for anybody anymore.
Oh, that's true.
D-Nell writes, the Home Run Derby is tonight, and there are plenty of new faces and a new format. Awesome. Is there anything Major League Baseball can do to breathe some life into this tired event?
Isn't that what they're doing right now by putting a new format into this?
But this one's weird.
Why is it weird?
Okay, anytime you separate things into two leagues, you don't have a true winner. When they had it as one format where they hit against each other, okay, let's say the best guy in the AL, the second best guy in the AL loses because he lost the second guy.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
I don't like that.
He's right. I think you do have a more true winner. Everybody competes against each other. It's the same with the
right because the leagues are competing against each other.
Yeah. It's the same with the NBA 3-point shootout. Now that is East against West.
But the final is the best from each, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. It could be the best from each.
But,
Let's say the
it's
top
a
two
bracket
guys.
style. It's a bracket style tournament.
So if the top two guys come out of the AL, one of them loses. So he doesn't even get in the finals that
Wait,
time.
so is there seeding?
Yeah, okay.
Are people lined up playing each
I'll
other?
explain. This is how it goes this year. There's 5 from the AL, 5 from the NL. They all play against each other in the first round. The top 3 advance from each division. The guy who's in first from each division gets a bye, and then the second and third go against each other to see who plays in the conference finals, I guess you could say. And then basically whoever gets the most from each conference in the first round gets a bye to the semifinals.
Well, the one thing I will say is that you know who you're facing, you know what you're going up against. In years past, you kind of go out there, you hit as many as you can, and
just
you
see
hope
what
for the
happens.
best.
Yeah, just see what happens.
So
I
now
think it's kind of fun. I feel like one of the big draws to baseball in terms of the All-Star Game events are that people root for their league to a pretty high degree in comparison to some of the other major sports leagues.
well, because it actually means something.
Right. Well, yeah, it actually means something if they win, but I think that that's what they're trying to do is incorporate that kind of
Camaraderie.
support and
almost,
camaraderie for the actual leagues by rooting for your big hitters.
They actually went a step further because they have captains this year. So these weren't just like randomly picked players that said, oh, sure, go ahead and do it. The captains were Joey Bats for the AL and Troy Tulowitzki for the NL. They weren't the home run leaders. I don't really know how they came up with these captains at all.
Yeah, well.
I honestly don't get it.
They're big names.
Well,
They could have
I
picked
think it's because they were the top vote getters in each
That might
league.
have been
Yeah,
it. They could have picked Dozier, home team. This game is in Minnesota.
they could have, but
Why not? He's already in it. So
well. So what are we doing? Are we each picking?
yeah, I want to see who you guys. I mean, there's some interesting stories. Morneau's coming home. He's playing for the NL. There's a Minnesota player on the AL. So there's something to root for the home guys, I guess.
Yep.
AL, a lot of home runs in here. We have the defending champion who has the least home runs so far. Cespedes has 14, but he destroyed last year. He hit like what?
Yes, he did.
30 something.
yeah, he went off.
He hit a lot. He'll be joined by, obviously, Captain Joey Bats, Josh Donaldson of the Athletics, Dozier, and Adam Jones, who's been pretty darn good on offense this year. No Nelson Cruz, though.
Yeah, I know that was interesting.
I think he turned it down.
Yeah.
Cabrera turned it down.
Yeah, a couple people turned it down.
I like Jones.
Adam Jones.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I think he's got a pretty good swing for the Derby.
Certainly does. I'm going to stick with the reigning champ, Yo Knows. Yo Ennis.
Okay, so we're picking somebody to win from each division
Right.
to face each other in the finals. All right, I didn't think of that. I am going to go with hometown boy, Brian Dozier.
All right.
Just for the heck of it.
He did just hit 2 yesterday.
I'd like some kind of hometown story going on here.
All right.
I think he'll get under 5.
Oh, that's not nice.
Oh.
Sorry,
But
I
he's-
just think that's going to be the situation.
This isn't a hitter's park. This is a weird place to have a home run derby.
You know, it's the type of situation where a guy puts a little extra emphasis on
Tries
getting
too
it done.
hard.
Yeah, and
All right.
yeah, I can just see that happening.
All right, so the NL has Tulo hitting away from home, so that'll be fun for him. Todd Frazier, Morneau, Yasiel Puig, who only has 12 this year, not really known as a home run hitter per se.
Yeah.
And then Giancarlo Stanton. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Come on.
Everybody's really excited about Stanton coming on. This is I think the first time he's done
The
it.
Stant Beast?
Yeah.
Stant Beast.
I gotta say, I'm gonna go with the underdog in Todd Frazier. I think he's gonna come out of nowhere.
Wow.
I really do.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with Puig, actually.
You're going with the absolute underdog, the least home runs of anybody in this derby.
Yeah, I think he's just, this is the type of thing where he'd,
Here's a side question.
do his
for you.
usual thing.
Do you think in this whatever home run derby he has more home runs than he's had this season? 12 total.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that could be true for almost everybody, honestly. If they make it deep.
No, that's what I'm saying. If he doesn't make it deep, then he
Still,
can get under.
yeah, he hasn't been hitting a lot of home runs. He's still got a lot of power, though.
Sure does.
And, I think this could be one of those, this is where he shines situations.
I'm going with Stanton.
Relishes the, big bat.
I'm going with Stanton to win the whole thing.
I think he's the favorite, honestly.
I'm picking him to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think he's got the power. He hits in a pitcher's ballpark to begin with, so he's not really worried about
True.
big parks. Doesn't matter.
Very
He hits
true.
400. All right, so we're interesting. We have some kind of betting prowess going on here.
I've
Yeah, it's
seen
fun.
him hit a home run.
Have you?
Yeah, I saw him
Oh,
this
yeah,
year.
you were there. Yeah.
He blasted one.
All right, we got one last quick question to get over in Jonathan's mailbag. Martin D. writes, Lionel Messi won the Golden Ball after his team lost in the World Cup Finals on Sunday. Should there be any reason to award a Finals or Playoff MVP trophy to a player on the losing team?
I think they really decided this before the game even started.
They had to have, right? When do they vote for these things?
It was totally based on his play during the group stage. It was completely based on that. And I've read that they made this decision before the game even started.
Oh, did you see the best quote ever from Diego Maradona, who everyone's trying to compare Lionel Messi to, Argentinian players, all that good stuff. He called it a marketing plan. He said this was just to further advance Lionel Messi's stock, basically, in the media.
All right.
Coming from a guy who you're supposed to be like looking up to, that's a.
You think he was undeserving?
No, not necessarily. But I mean, there are a lot of other names that you could consider if you're going off the group stage.
But I mean, it's a tournament. Like, what are we
Well,
going?
he was
off
still
of?
a factor in.
He was one of the best. But I also think that
But he had a horrible World Cup
Arjen
final.
Robben, James Rodriguez.
Yep, Colombia.
Rodriguez was fantastic.
How about Mueller from Germany was in this game?
Like all those guys are right there.
But he had the stats regardless, and he led his team to the final with not a lot of big names surrounding
He didn't score
him.
in the knockout stage.
Nope.
He had
didn't
one
score past
assist.
the groups. How about we go for Schweinsteiger from Germany for flopping 874 times in the title game?
I think I would have gone with Thomas Mueller, honestly. He scored in the knockout stage, and he was scoring during the group stage.
How about you go completely out of the box and pick Manuel Neuer? Pick the goalie.
Yeah, Neuer was...
He was really... Imagine if they picked a goalie, everyone's like, wait a minute. He didn't do anything. He stood there.
I didn't have a big problem with it, and I loved his lack of enthusiasm. For the whole thing.
That was the best part of the whole thing. He grabs the trophy. He's like,
He just
Get
didn't.
me out
He
of
didn't
here.
even make eye contact with anyone.
Get me out of here, please. And you know what? We're going to get out of here. We're going to talk about the first half of the season for the AL and NL East. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Donald, Teddy Bear 2, and the Deucey Moose. Only on the Team.
We are back on the Star Fantasy League show, and it's a very strange week because there's nothing going on in fantasy land. No games, no nothing to talk about. It's the All-Star break. Yay.
Well, since we won't need to do tons of research, maybe we can go out to one of the parks in the local area and play wiffle ball home run.
You know what? Let's talk about local parks today on the Star Fan. No, that's actually not
Buckland Park?
You know what? I want to.
Ellison Park.
I actually really like Ellison. They have a nice disc golf course there. I like playing there.
They do.
It's a nice place. But what I do want to talk about is I went to the Cornhill Arts Festival over the weekend, and I have never been to Cornhill, but I am now moving there. I love that area so much.
You know, if you like Cornhill, you should move just a little bit west of Cornhill.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's like the ghetto, isn't it? Like
yeah,
the
but it's
super
fun.
ghetto.
There's something exciting going on every night.
Yay.
I always see flashing lights and loud sirens.
I got to eat at a nice establishment and have some beverages, and
it is a nice little area that they're continuously trying to improve, and it's right by the river, which is awesome.
Well, and there's
walking distance to the arenas.
There's apartments on the river
Yep.
that are going for some nice money that I may move into.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
They're nice.
Yeah, but then you have to look across, and there's that weird, like,
Water?
discolored apartment complex.
That building that has like 8 different colors.
It's really weird.
One of them is like low-level housing.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very sore
And
on
the
the
but
eyes.
the other one is like really nice
Yeah.
inside.
Oh.
Seth looked at those for one point.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he told. Yeah, I think he said something about it. But I love Cornhill. I love the festival. It was one of the nicer ones I've been to.
Definitely.
I just like the feel of it. It's a neighborhood.
That's some
first
great
nice thing you
festivals
said about
around
Rochester.
here.
I've said nice things about Rochester for once.
I think he's enjoying the summer a bit.
All
Well,
right.
yeah, I've been out enjoying
bit.
myself. Yes, there you go. Thank you. That's the perfect thing to say. I'm enjoying
It's
it.
the summer of love,
up-
Donald.
Where are you getting this from? I saw you printed something out on the office that says "Summer of Love." It's a little weird.
Get on board.
It's a 311 song.
Of course it is. They're mentioning 311 for the 800th time. Yeah.
Stay positive and love your life, John.
All right, what we're doing today on the Star Fantasy League show, the 4 days that there's no actual fantasy going on, we are recapping the first half of the Major League Baseball season. We're going to do 2 divisions every single day. Today is the AL East and the NL East, and we're going to start, of course, with Nick and I's favorite division, the AL East,
Yeah, it's a mess.
which is more like the AL Least this season. It really is.
It is bad.
It's depressing. We're not going to really talk about the Boston Red Sox, but we have to bring them up. Man,
Why?
what a terrible defense of the World Series championship.
Yeah, well, I mean, they really haven't found any consistency in their order. They have no bats that are really working out. Pitching's been up and down. I mean, Lester and Lackey have certainly held their own, but Felix Dubrandt was atrocious. And Clay
He's gone.
Buchholz says he's making a slight comeback here, so I'm interested to see what he's going to be like in the second half because he did just pitch a complete game with 12 strikeouts yesterday or 2 days ago. Fantastic. So if he can actually find that magic again, we'll see.
I'm interested to see what they do because you did say Buchholz rebounded. A big problem was his command and control when he went on the DL originally.
Yep.
He's only had 1 walk since he came off the DL in 4 starts, which is the last game before he went down, 8 walks alone.
Yeah.
8.
So I mean that's positive. That's good to see. Jake Peavy grinds it out. He's your 4th or 5th starter.
He's better on a winning team when he's like the 4th or 5th starter.
Yeah, so but I mean if he can eat up a few innings, the biggest problem is the bats. Yep. And I think they have a lot to look forward to with that, with Brock Holt, the way he's played. He's been
incredible.
And then Mookie Betts, him coming up, that's big. If Bogarts can regain his form, that would be a big help.
He's young. And the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is this big prospect we got at catcher, Christian Vasquez, who just got called up last week. AJ Pierzynski is basically dismissed from the team, sent down.
They should put him in the booth.
Who? AJ Pierzynski?
Yeah, because that's what he does every year anyways.
That's
and the
true,
playoffs
at
come
the
around
end.
because he's never in them.
Vasquez has played 3 games so far, 5 for his first 11. He's not going to play every day. He's going to be, I guess, probably 3 or 4 days a week.
Well, they'll probably rotate him in with Ross.
Well, Ross is John Lester's catcher, personal catcher, so that usually happens every season. He's had 3 out of his first 5 hits were doubles. He's supposedly the catcher of the future for the Red Sox, so maybe he can inject some life into this offense.
It's not the first time we've seen a massive decline by a World Series champ. This happens
Didn't
quite
the Red Sox
frequently.
do this, I think, the last time they won, too?
I got to be honest, though, with the division the way that it is, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they actually make it back into the race. It really isn't. 9.5 games back seems like a lot, but these other teams, Baltimore, Toronto, the Yankees losing all of their starting pitchers, they're not that solid. They're not like runaway first place. So it's a possibility.
Yeah, we're still holding out a lot of hope, I see.
I am.
Yeah, let's go right up we're at the standings. Tampa Bay is actually tied with Boston right now. The big question is, are they going to pack it in or are they going to try to make a run? Because David Price's name and trade consideration just won't go away.
Well, he's the only pitcher on this staff that's worth anything.
Alex
Cobb is young and he does have the potential.
Didn't he just get a ton of money too?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
I believe he did.
Cobblestiltskin.
Thank you,
Cobblestone
Zach.
Cobb.
I don't know. I don't know if he did. I would say, obviously, looking at this, much more likely that Tampa Bay ends up packing it in than Boston.
Yep.
Boston just wouldn't do that anyways, really.
Well, they have the
most
money.
likely.
They don't really. Tampa Bay is a team that
Plus they have the pieces that can develop.
Well, here's the question: what happened to their offense?
Tampa Bay or
Yeah,
I mean
their offense is worse than Boston's.
Well, the Tampa Bay went on that little streak just
And
a
then-
while ago. It was like 8.
I mean, they're still
They won
not-
8 out of 10 or something.
Yeah.
But I don't see it happening over the long term. They can't produce enough runs, and they really don't have a deep enough staff.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on to the team that should be sliding. I think they're going to fall out of the race very quickly now is the Yankees. Tanaka's gone.
Yeah.
Their rotation is basically just crumbling. They traded
had a setback.
Exactly. They traded one Chud for another and Nuno for McCarthy.
Yep.
McCarthy got blown up in his first start as a Yankee.
Yep.
I don't expect this rotation to go deeper than, 1 or 2 guys?
No, they really don't have a shot here. And their bats have been okay, but they haven't been what they're supposed to be.
Well, we had Solarte, who was good to begin the season, and all of a sudden he's out of favor.
Yeah, he
He's
just
been
dropped right off.
horrible.
Yeah, he's down at like 230 now or something, right, for
Well,
average.
they're trying to figure out what to do since A-Royd decided to go AWOL, I guess. I don't know.
A-Roy decided to go.
I was trying to think of something. I didn't come up with anything.
John Wall?
No.
You went John Wall, yes.
No, horrible.
The only positive that I've seen really is in the absence or the departure of Mo Rivera, Robertson's actually been really good.
Yeah.
He's been really good. He's converted 23 of 25 save opportunities. I mean, they do have things to look forward to, and they have Ellsbury on a long-term contract. Brett Gardner's fantastic. Teixeira is fantastic. They just
Teixeira and his 242 yearly
It's
average.
not a lot of
home
power
runs.
besides Teixeira in the lineup as it is.
Ellsbury's supposed to be, and he's been batting
No,
third, but he hasn't.
he's
Come
never
on,
had
last year he was over 300, and he batted a ton of home runs. Yeah, he's fine. He's their third hitter for real. Brett Gardner leading off is great, and Ellsbury, and eventually, obviously, we know at the end of the season Jeter's gone, so they're gonna have some problems.
Even if they had a much better lineup than they do now, I just don't think they could be saved based on what has gone on with the pitching rotation.
Yeah. All right, so we got to talk about these top 2 teams. They're pretty close. They're a couple games apart. Toronto and Baltimore. Toronto, man, their offense is really good, but they have one of the weirdest rotations, along with Baltimore. Baltimore's just a terrible rotation, but Toronto has Mark Burley at the top and pretty much nobody else.
Yeah, I mean,
R.A. home runny.
Yeah, R.A. Dickey's just been middling the whole season. Marcus Stroman's been kind of a surprise, but he's not going to be the guy that gets you to the playoffs. And then Baltimore, yeah, the same thing. Their rotation is just suspect at best.
No, not even suspect. Their entire pitching staff is at or above 4 ERA. Everybody on their rotation. There's no guy like Burley who's at mid twos. Everybody's above 4. That's
what I'm saying.
bad.
That's why I think this division's still wide open. I know there's a big difference between first and last, but their rotations are so bad at the top.
I mean, yeah, the team that's going to win this division has to figure out their top 2 or 3 guys and just run with them, right?
Well, if Boston can close, obviously Toronto, I think Toronto's still in play no matter what. If they, if Encarnacion can get going again and be healthy, I think they'll have a chance. But Boston, I mean, I don't think they're going to make it, but I think you're right. I think if they can get it down to 5 or 4.5 in the next month, they'll be in the running.
All right, let's move on to the NL East. We're going to start at the basement, which there's just some sad teams down here. Philadelphia and Miami come up, bringing up the rear. Do you have anything to say about this Philadelphia team? They're nothing.
Yeah, Ryan Howard is atrocious, and I can't even believe he got paid as much as he did.
He got a lot of money.
He got paid, and he can't hit a left-handed pitcher to save his life.
Yeah, he's hitting like 220, which is just miserable. It's great that he's still able to knock out home runs now and then, but this is like, I don't know, this is reminding me of like end-of-career Mark McGwire.
Yeah.
Because the average is just despicable.
Atrocious, yeah.
And the rest of his contributions are pretty bad besides hitting one out here and there.
Yep.
This Miami team, Fernandez went down. They pretty much assumed their season was over. But they're doing pretty well with Henderson Alvarez. 11 quality starts this season. He's been pretty damn good for this team.
Yeah, he's not a strikeout pitcher, but he gets the job done for sure. I mean, he can definitely get the ball on the ground. He gets outs. He gets deep into games. So he was kind of an all-star snub, really.
Yeah, and another all-star snub, Casey McGee.
Yeah, they do have a couple of bats. McGee, Yelich, and Osuna, obviously.
Stanton guy.
Obviously Stanton. So, I mean, they do have some bats, but top to bottom, this order needs some more growth.
Yep.
Well, and we know their rotation got the biggest hit of pretty much anybody in the league.
It's true.
Although, let's be fair, next team up here, the Mets don't have Matt Harvey. They're ace, basically, and they're still only 5 games under 500 because of the play of their pitchers. It's DeGrom coming up, John Neese, Zach Wheeler, and somehow Bartolo Colon's corpse is doing okay.
They've been really, really hot, and their offense has actually been able to do some stuff as of late.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. It's a long shot, but I think that with the way that Wheeler and DeGrom have been pitching, especially DeGrom right now, I don't think you can rule them out completely.
Wow. I know. The only thing is that I really like Washington.
Yeah.
Washington got some pieces back to the puzzle, and I don't know. I think they're going to run away.
Yeah, the top of the division is really good. That's the difficulty with it, and you can't see the Mets, even if they're able to push up a bit and get over 500, making a run at the wild card.
Yeah, they have to. I would say they have to push out both.
Yeah, it would have to be the division most likely.
There are 2 wild cards now this season.
Right.
So they get a 1-game playoff, but they have to pass one or both of Washington and Atlanta. Man, Atlanta's been they've been that Jekyll and Hyde team, good against one side of the plate, really bad against the other, but they've just been really solid. Their pitching staff's all right, led by Julio Teheran.
Come on, that pitching staff is a heck of a story. They lost 3 pitchers at the beginning of the season to Tommy John or something similar, and they've held it together. Teheran's been great. Irvin Santana was a free agent signing that nobody wanted, and all of a sudden he comes in
he's
and
dropped off. He's up to
he has
4
dropped
ERA,
off. I agree with that. And then Harang, he's held his own. So this pitching staff has really held it together. If it wasn't for them, I don't think they would be where they are. Well, I don't think they would be tied for the lead in the National League.
How about the pitching staff for these Washington Nationals, though? They're the bizarro Orioles. They had all over 4 ERA. Washington's all starters under a 4 ERA. That's incredible.
Yeah, and I really this is probably the most complete rotation, hands down, for me in this division. Strasburg, Gio, Jordan Zimmerman, Pfister, and Tanner Roark. Tanner Roark's been okay.
Yeah, he's been okay.
He's been okay. But those top 4, oh my goodness, if they could get to the playoffs with that rotation healthy, Lord knows what
they got
do.
bats. They got Jason Worth.
They've got a decent chance to run away with that.
Rendon's been pretty damn good this season.
And Harper's
back.
They have a lot of good things.
A lot of interest, but we didn't get to our awards because we got another segment coming up to close out the show. We're going to give you our half-season awards. They're coming up after the break, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
That is right. Contact us via Twitter because we're going to be very bored this week. No baseball, no nothing. Just free agency to talk about and our half-season, mid-season MLB awards we got. We're going to give you the categories for these awards. Remember, these are for the AL East and the NL East only. We'll bring up the other divisions as the week goes on. We have under-the-radar player, Fantasy Stud, and our Fantasy Chud, because it wouldn't be the Star Fantasy League Show if we didn't talk about our favorite Chuds.
Studs and Chuds, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, we love those Chuds.
We do love those Chuds.
Even though they hurt us, they're just great.
Yep. All right, let's get to it. For the AL East, let's break it down. Zach, who do you got for your under-the-radar player?
My under-the-radar, who I like to be coming up after a really tough first half, is Manny Machado.
I like
Manny
that.
Machado.
That's nice.
I think he's flying under the radar. He's bounced back a little bit.
He's very inexpensive on StarFantasyLeagues.com as well.
And he threw a bat at somebody, so he has that to overcome.
And they're playing Oakland coming up after the break.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. All right, how about your stud and your chud?
My stud is going to be Mr. Jones, who has been hitting a lot of bombs.
Adam?
Yeah, and we expected, he had a little bit of a rough start. He was getting K'd up a lot. But he's been really hot, been playing really well, and helping to maintain his team relevant by supporting my chud, Chris Davis.
Ooh, Mr.
Who is hitting 199.
That's bad.
That's brutal.
That's
really bad.
That is really brutal. All right, what about you?
All right, my under-the-radar player for the second half is going to be Jackie Bradley Jr. for Boston.
Ooh.
I think that he needs to get the bat going, and like I said, I really think if Boston gets their order intact, he's going to be a big piece. So he's my under-the-radar guy. Fantasy stud, Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz has just been a beast.
Surprise.
He's one off the pace for the lead in the AL, for the home run lead. So fantasy stud there. Fantasy chud, R.A. Dickey. I don't like R.A. Dickey. He's just so middling. You just like
unsurprising.
Bleh.
All right, my under-the-radar guy, I mentioned him earlier, Christian Vasquez, catcher for Boston. He's supposed to be the catcher of the future. You're going to be able to get him really cheap at the minimum on StarFantasyLeagues.com. 5 of his first 11, 3 doubles. He's going to be playing a lot, and he's going to be really inexpensive.
Solid.
Fantasy stud, obviously, Nelson Cruz. I can't disagree there. And fantasy chud, since we don't get to mention his name in the AL ever again, Vidal Nuno, one of the worst first halves ever, 5.42 ERA. 15 home runs given up. What a terrible, terrible chud.
I disagree with that.
I just gave his numbers. How do you disagree?
His fantasy points were not indicative.
But this is an overall chud. He's a chud. Stop it. All right, how about the NL East? Who do you got for your under-the-radar, Zach?
My under-the-radar is Zach Wheeler. I know that he is coming up a little bit now. He's been exposed a little bit as being solid. But I think that if he continues to pitch the way that he has been against some of the easier teams to pitch against, I think he's learning. I think he's getting better as he's been going along here, and I think he'll be able to win some of those bigger games.
Yep.
And then, what do we got, stud?
Stud, yep.
My stud is DeGrom.
Ooh, baby.
I think we are seeing a superstar pitcher in the making right now. He has some ridiculous stuff. And then, what do I got?
Chud.
My chud is Ryan Howard.
Yeah,
who is not worth the money, and on and on and on.
All right, I have to agree with you on your fantasy chud. He is terrible this year, so he's my fantasy chud for the NL East. Under the radar is going to be Jason Hayward. I think that Atlanta has had a little cold streak with their bats. He's one of the reasons. He's going to get it going. Fantasy stud, Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, he's been great. I love that guy.
Unbelievable. Given a shot and just took it away from Ryan Zimmerman.
All right, my under the radar is Bryce Harper coming off the DL. He's been a little slow so far.
He's got great value on Star Fantasy Leagues right now.
Yes, he does. Get him in your lineups when he comes back from the break. Fantasy stud, you guys didn't mention Giancarlo Stanton.
I knew you were going to go with him, I know.
295 average, 21 home runs, 63 RBIs. He does everything. 933 OPS, everything.
Big future.
Fantasy chud, anybody on that Philly rotation that's not named Cole Hamels, Kyle Kendrick, Fausto Carmona, 25 combined home runs, 4+ ERA for both.
Who's Fausto Carmona?
Really? Fausto Carmona, Hernandez III, Roberto. God, play on StarFantasy.com when it comes up. We're going to be talking this all week long. And if you guys don't love your fantasy chuds, we can't help you at all. We love them. Take it easy, guys.